It's Judgment Day for the Russell's 15. We're putting it head-to-head in a blind battle with three different batches of the Russell's 13, the Bardstown Discovery Series 11, which is predominantly Russell's 13-year juice. And we're going to determine, is this $250 MSRP bottle truly the king of Russell's? Well, today we're going to find out. Welcome back to another episode of Neat Bourbon. My name's Tanner, and today is probably the most anticipated video that I have ever made. So I am a massive Russell's 13 fanboy, and so when this 15 year came out, I had to get it. So fortunate to have one of these bottles, but I also have a couple of the others, and people are saying that batch 2 of Russell's 13 is the best. Some say 3, some like the most recent batches. So we've got batch 2, 3, and 5 poured up over here along with the Bardstown Discovery Series 11. And we're putting them all head to head in a blind battle to determine, can we really taste the difference of this Russell's 15? Now, I already have a review out on this bottle, and it is truly a beast. I've been drinking it down a good bit, and it truly is like a fantastic bottle. But how's it going to hold up in a blind? These Russell's 13s are incredibly robust, sweet oak bombs. This Russell's 15 is a little bit more refined, a little bit more nuanced, but still incredibly dense and robust in its own right. But how will it fare in a blind battle against its little brothers? And then, the Discovery Series 11. So that's what I want to determine today. Is this bottle a $250 home run if you can find it? Is it worth $450 on the secondary market? And are these bottles now incredible values if you can get them like sub $250? These Russell's 13s are almost half price of these Russell's 15, depending on how much you want to pay for this bottle. So are these 13 years the new value king on the secondary market? And are these 15 years legends? Are these going to be the mythical unicorn that no one can get their hands on? Should you mortgage your house to pull home one of these bottles? I definitely don't recommend doing that for any bourbon. But anyways, those are the questions that we're going to be determining today. Right, so we've got these glasses poured up. Just to go over them again, we got the Russell's 15. We got batch 2, 3, and 5 of the Russell's 13, as well as the Bardstown Discovery Series 11. Man, so this is just, I love Russell's 13, so just having all these in front of me, it's been a long road to get all these, so. Man, that is just sweet oak, tons of vanillas. There's a little bit of a funk there. It is just, an excellent, Russell's nose. God, I just love the cherries and the vanillas and that oak. It's just so prominent there on the nose. Anyways, off to the palate. Cheers. That cinnamon oak is just so robust, straight up front. You're getting all of those cherries and vanillas. That is, I love that. That's fantastic. It's going to be splitting hairs to try to pick out the difference between these. But yeah, that's just phenomenal Russell. I don't know if that's the 15 year or not. I don't know. That's fantastic. Anyways, off to the palate. Cheers. Man, again, that cherry, that red cherry note goes a little bit darker on this one, leaning more towards that Luxardo cherry, but it wasn't quite as strong. This one was a lot more cinnamon, vanillas there. Man, that was very, I think the main difference between 1 and 2 is 2 is a little bit more drying on the tongue. It is just a faint bit drying, and a lot of times that drying can be a good thing, but just trying to call out these two are basically the exact same thing. I think that glass 2 is a little bit more drying than glass 1. I don't know necessarily if I like one better than the other at this point, but anyways, off to glass 3. Still wildly similar, but it's a honey graham cracker, an oaky honey graham cracker there. A little bit sweeter there on the nose. Anyways, off to the palate. Cheers. That is really good. It's not quite as oak forward, but it's a lot more caramels and vanillas, a little bit more cherry forward on this one as well than glasses 1 and 2. if I had to be a betting man, like I would say like this would be like the 5. This would either be 5 or like disco, and then these would be the batches, 2 and 3. Can't really think. Maybe this would be batch 2 because it's a little bit more drying than batch 3. So like I don't know, but that's just my brief little synopsis that I'm thinking. Yeah, and like you're getting that oak spice there, but it's just not nearly as like dense and robust as these glasses like 1 and 2. I still really dig that, but like, anyways, we're gonna go into glass 4. Ooh, wow. Damn. This nose. Wow. Like I remember the 15, like this might be the 15, like, I don't know. Yeah, the nose is a clear cut above. This is a clear cut above the previous glasses, so wow. That is definitely a denser, darker nose. The palate, it is just kind of like melts in your mouth with just like, it's like a little bit like syrupy there, like the viscosity is a little bit amped up, and like the finish just goes for days. Very similar to glass 1. It is just a little bit darker. Like those caramelized, like brown, like the brown sugar is more like a caramelized brown sugar. Like the oak is all over the back of that palate. The cherry there is like a Luxardo cherry. It's a little bit darker of a Luxardo cherry. I'm not saying that these are like medicinal cherries at all, but like they are a little bit. They're more like a darker maraschino cherry than like soaked in like that Luxardo cherry syrup there. So there's a little bit more nuance going into glass 4. Anyways, on to glass 5. Wow. That's pretty good. I was a fan of like the nose on glass 1, but man, this nose. Wow. That's a fantastic. It's like closer to this glass. Like, man. So like caramel heavy on the nose, but like it is so like it smells like thick caramel. Anyways, off to the palate. Cheers. That is freaking good. That is good. So like this is more like of a maraschino cherry. A lot more vanillas on this. Like the oak is really nice too. The cherry is just a little bit different on this glass. But man, is it cherry forward. You got a great balance there between that cherry, vanilla, and oak. Man, like all that caramel like didn't like transfer over to the palate like I was getting on the nose. It's a lot sweeter with vanilla. Definitely doesn't have the finish that this glass here, that glass 4 had. So, all right, I'm going to go back through these, have some more water, and then we will regroup for my final thoughts. And we are back. So I've had the opportunity to have some water, go back through these, and come up with my final thoughts. I have these glasses in the same orders that I originally tasted them in, and I thought that this first glass right here is incredible. I thought that the cherry on this was like leaning more towards like that Luxardo cherry than more of like a darker maraschino cherry. This was fantastic. The oak I thought was like perfectly balanced on it, going all the way through. The dark chocolates, the leathers, the tobaccos, like this was fantastic. Very close to first place. This glass 4. Glass 4, I thought the nose was a little bit more robust, and like the brown sugars were a little bit more nuanced. The Luxardo cherry was deeper and darker, and that oak just lasted for days along with the finish. So glass 4 came in first. These two right here, I thought that the oak was just a little bit drying there on the back, which was the only reason why that I gave glass 1 the edge over glass 2. So moving over, I put glass 2 in third place, glass 3 in fourth place. These were both very good. I thought the oak was a little bit more pronounced on glass 2 than glass 3, but the oak was a little bit drying, but I still thought the profile was just a little bit more robust And I loved Glass 5, but when I was going like back and through these, there was like a little bit of like a nut profile that started to show itself that was like out of place. So like I'd almost venture to guess that like this would be the Bardstown, but like this was incredibly well put together. I dug the cherry notes. It just, you know, these kind of all felt a little bit closer to the same family than this one, although that this had like a very similar profile with like the oaks, vanillas, and cherries. It was just like that nuttiness that kind of, you know, made me think that this one kind of didn't go with the group. And then the cherries were a little bit more, you know, that maraschino leaning towards a little bit more medicinal for me on this one. So I just gave this one the back seat. So I had this one as the Bardstown. I'm going to go batch 5, 2, 3, and the 15 years, sorry. Anyways, all right, last place. We got one, baby. We got one. So we got the Bardstown coming in 5th. So, 4th place. 2 for 2. All right, so we got a Russell's 13. It is this one. We got batch 5. So we went the Disco 11 to Russell's 13, batch 5. 2 for 2, baby. All right, we're going to, this is going to be a tough, so we've got batch 2 and 3, and we've got the Russell's 15 left. So I had this one as the batch 2. This is batch 2, so let's see what it is. Shoo! Let's go. All right, so we got Russell's. We got the batch 2. We're 3 for 3. Again, I dig the batch 2. Batch 2's freaking great, but it's just a little drying there on the back relative to this glass number 1. Glass number 1 is like incredible. Anyway, all right, glass number 1. We got the batch 3, which means the 15 came out on top. So we've got the 15 took down all of its younger brothers today. This nose is incredible. I have been doing some good work on this bottle, putting it up against every bottle that I've been sampling, just taking like a 1/4 ounce, a 1/2 ounce pour, just trying to formulate a solid opinion on this bottle. And the nose is incredible. Like one of the best noses that I've ever had on a bourbon. The palate is right up there with it, but I do think the nose is a little bit better than the palate. Like the quick pop of like that dark, rich Luxardo cherry, followed into like those brown sugars with more cherry and like that cinnamon oak, gives you a little bit of like that Dr. Peppery vibe. And then going over into the finish with like the dark chocolates, the oaks, the leathers, like this is just a perfectly put together bottle. It deserves this first place spot. But in conclusion of the Russells and Bardstown, this batch 3 is truly special in terms of the Russell's 13s. I thoroughly dig the batch 2. I think batch 2 and 5 could be interchanged. If you're an oak fan, you're probably going to like 2. If you've got a sweet tooth, you're probably going to like batch 5 over batch 2. I'm an oak fan, so I give the nod to batch 2. And, you know, this Disco 11, if you can't find the Russells, this is an amazing alternative. This is like $140. These are $150, but let's be real, you can't find the Russell's 13s for at MSRP, so they're really like $250 a pop, you know. So like again, I think this is definitely worth the MSRP. These are worth MSRP too, but at that 250 plus, you're kind of getting expensive there. I personally would pay, you know, under $250 for any Russell's 13 product because again, favorite bourbon out there, and this 15 truly is special. It was a clear cut above the competition today. So anyways, guys, I'll stop rambling. I hope you enjoyed this video today. We've got a definitive list now of what's the best Russell's 13 batch. The Russell's 15 is a clear cut above. I hope you all enjoyed this video today. If you have, would you please leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Please give me a like. And as always, my name is Tanner. This is Neat Bourbon. And pop the bottles and share the pours. And we'll see you in the next one.